Gulf Film Festival. I think that almost all of them were shown there and they awarded. And yes, there are people who talk to them with the same gravity that I was talking about Kashmir Files. There are people, not few, who write or tell very, very, very hard things using the harshest words, and I accept it. This is what, especially when you do movies.
You haven't answered my question. I'm saying, what is Fauda? What is Schindler's List? Is that not propaganda in the same way?
I'll answer your question if you let me finish.
Okay, go on.
Thanks. Now, you don't expect me now to make an analysis of Schindler's List or of not any other movie. What I can say is that even the most terrible tragedies, the most terrible things that happen might give birth to propaganda and to manipulative movies. And I want to make one thing clear, extremely clear and totally clear. Not for even 1 second, I thought or I imagined to talk about the tragedy of Kashmir. Not for even 1 second I've been standing there and talking about the historical facts. Not for even 1 second I imagined to put myself inside this historical debate. I don't feel that I'm appropriate to do it, and it's not my role. I was talking as a filmmaker, as an artist, about the cinematic text, and only about the cinematic text. And each attempt to take my words and to turn them to a position inside the Kashmir case is just a cheap manipulation. It's a cheap manipulation in order to incite people against what I said and to make political profit out of it.
No, but you seem to have said, I have that statement of yours where you seem to be suggesting that this is the view of the entire jury. I spoke to other members of the jury yesterday. They've also come out and spoken in public, and they say that you would make this kind of a comment was never discussed. You came and said, we were, all of us, disturbed and shocked by the 15th film, The Kashmir Files. That felt to us like a propaganda, vulgar movie, inappropriate for an artistic competitive section of a prestigious film festival. The other jury members say, that's your view, that's not their view. They, in fact, are offended and they find your comments vulgar.
My statement and my opinions were shared by all the jury members. We were sitting, all of us, at the screening room, having the same feelings after the screening, saying the same words. Everyone was aware of what is going to be said. I understand, and I have emails and WhatsApps that prove it. I understand that under pressure or fear or anxiety, people can suddenly change their statements, and I don't want to judge them. For me, it's not a personal thing. I understand that someone can be afraid, can feel under pressure, and try to change and to modify what happened. But what I said was clearly.
No, but what evidence do you have to back this? Because I had on the show filmmaker Shudipto Sen, who was one of the jury members. He says Nadav said this on his own. This wasn't discussed. This wasn't known to us. We were not part of the same script. Nadav went off, shot his mouth off, and he's embarrassed all of us. Where is the evidence? If you're saying you have evidence, show us the evidence that the other jury members backed you on this.
I have a suggestion, since I guess that you consider yourself as a serious journalist. I hope so. You can call, for instance, the French jury member, Pascal. You can call, for instance, the Spanish jury member, Javier, and ask them.
No, so we can do that, because the others who've spoken have said that this was your view, and you're insisting live once again that this wasn't your view alone, that the other members knew that you would be saying this?
So why are you saying that you can do it? Do it. Just do it. Just take, I guess that you have a mail or phone, call them, ask them.
And what evidence do you have to back? You're saying you've got evidence. Can you show us some of that evidence where you can prove that the other filmmakers were on board when you made these comments?
I'm not going to do such a thing because I understand the sensibility and of the situation of people who are afraid and feel that they might pay a price for what they said. And I'm sure that you and all the viewers, we respect above everything the freedom of speech and the freedom of people to express their opinion.
But you haven't answered my question, Nadal. Since you are a filmmaker, let me challenge you by asking you just this. Is Schindler's List propaganda? Who determines what is... It's made from a particular point of view. Is Fauda propaganda? You know Fauda, of course. Is that propaganda? Who determines? It's made from a certain point of view for a certain community, and not just in that community, even outside. People seem to have watched Fauda and the Kashmir Files and Schindler's List and really found it to be a very gripping watch. So who's somebody else who's not a filmmaker to stand up and say that you think this is propaganda?
No one determines. No one can determine if one film is propaganda and one film is not. And one might think that Schindler's List, for instance, is a propaganda or not. And I totally respect and accept the fact that there are many people who love this movie, who think that it's a brilliant movie, as well as I respect the fact that there are people who think terrible things about my movies. But I, this year, was invited to Goa as the president of the jury because of my achievements as a filmmaker in order to express my opinion, my view, and the view of the jury about the movies. So exactly as much as the people who love the movie have, of course, the full right, it goes without saying, to claim that it's a brilliant, unbelievable movie, I have the right to claim that it's the opposite. And what I did is my duty towards the festival that invited me, the festival which invited me in order to express my opinion about the movies and to say the truth as I see it. Of course, it's subjective. We don't talk here about a scientific thing.
No, but you also seem to have sparked a massive diplomatic controversy. Israel's Consul General Khob Shoshani met Anupam Kher, the actor of the Kashmir File, and had to apologize on behalf of the Israeli government to the government of India.
I think that politicians, they have their way of make profits out of cases like this. I think that the Israeli politicians and the ambassador did and abused in an ugly, disgusting, and manipulative ways this case. You know, I'm a private person. I have the right to say what I think. I don't need to get authorization for this, neither from the Israeli ambassador nor from no one else. I'm not their property. I don't need to get advice from there to what I say and what I don't say. I was talking as a private person and as an artist and as a filmmaker, as the president of the jury, invited by this jury to give his opinion about the movies. When the Israeli ambassador condemned what I said about the tragedy of Kashmir, he's doing exactly the same manipulation because, as I said, and I will say it if I'll have to another 1,000 times, I was never ever speaking about the Kashmir tragedy, and I totally not taking back what I said, but I'm really sorry if people were hurted because of this. I was talking about the movie, the Kashmir Files, that was done based on this tragedy. And when the Israeli ambassador condemns what I'm saying and claiming that he is not a film expert, but he thinks that the Kashmir File is not a propaganda movie, first of all, it's his right. Second of all, as he's saying himself and witnessing himself, he is not a film expert, so maybe it's not extremely appropriate to give his opinion. I mean, it's his subjective opinion. Third of all, you know, he was standing there on stage saying that unfortunately he doesn't have time to watch movies, so he doesn't know a lot about cinema. So I don't know to which extent, when he's claiming that it's a propaganda movie or not a propaganda movie, what exactly does it mean? But all of this is a cheap manipulation, cheap political manipulation. It is done by people in Israel and also by certain people in India about what I was saying.
You know, you seem to have had multiple run-ins with the government of Israel in the past. I have over here some comments you made where You're saying that there is something rotten about the soul of Israel. You're saying that Israeli sickness or nature is characterized by young Israeli men, muscular, smiling. They are proud of being Israeli. This is a dichotomist vision of existence, us versus them all. So in multiple interviews that you've given, you seem to have been constantly at odds with the policies of the government of Israel.
Listen, I make films from the bottom of my heart. I'm Israeli. I grew up in Israeli. I passed through the whole Israeli process, high school, military service. And of course, when I see things that I dislike in my country, it hurts me. It hurts my feeling and it hurts my heart. And my movies, which sometimes are critical and sometimes are harsh towards my country, come exactly from this place, because this place is dear to my heart. I'm sure you feel the same thing about India, and I'm sure you know very well, and everyone knows very well, that when something is dear to your heart, first of all, you're emotional about it, and second of all, your only obligation is to claim and to say the truth as you see it.
Who invited you to be the head of the jury in India? Because now there's a lot of outcry over this invitation being extended to you and the fact that you came and said the kind of things that you did about this particular film. Who invited you? How did you decide to come and become head of the jury at IFFI this year?
I was invited by the festival. I don't know exactly. I got an email from the festival. You know, I was a jury member in dozens and dozens of film festivals. I was a jury member in the official competition in Berlin Film Festival, in sidebars in Cannes, presidents of a sidebar section in Venice, official competition in Locarno. I've been jury member and jury president in dozens of film festivals. And when I was invited to go, I was extremely happy because, as I said, I think that almost all my movies, or maybe all my movies, were shown there because my movie won the two very prestigious prizes because it's such a prestigious film festival, and because I wanted to get to know India.
Okay, you've had your say. You're alleging that other filmmakers were on board with your comments, which is what other filmmakers who were part of the jury have said isn't true. They claim to have spoken to some of the other members of the jury. We will follow this up, but I must say that what you've said, not just to members of the Kashmiri community, and you haven't really been able to explain, say, Schindler's List or Fauda, and whether you find Fauda to be propaganda or not. You never answered that question. Do you think Fauda is propaganda? The serial from Israel, which was being publicized and was the star attraction at the IFFI this year. I mean, that seems like propaganda. If you're looking at it from a Palestinian perspective, that looks like propaganda.
No, I find it unbelievable the way you repeat again the same question, even though I'm answering. I said again and again, and I'm not going to repeat it another time because I said it already. I said that there is no label propaganda or no non-propaganda. I said that it's the personal opinion of someone, and I can totally understand how also people can see my films maybe as propaganda. I respect it. Of course, I disagree, but I respect it. This was my opinion and the opinion of people around me. I was invited there to give my opinion about the movies, give awards to the best movies, to talk about their qualities, and also to talk about what I think about the other movies. And this is exactly what I said.
Okay,
thanks a lot.
We'll leave it over there for the time being. Nadal Lapid, for joining us on the news track. Thank you. You've had your say. We will follow up and see what the other filmmakers have to say. Thank you.
Thanks.
And anger simmers now over the insulting remark by IFFI jury chief Nadal Lapid on the film Kashmir Files. Kashmiri pundits are staging a protest against the Israeli filmmaker, accusing him of insulting the community, mocking the pain of the past. They have demanded answers from the Indian government as to why he was even given a platform in India, urging them to seek action against him. The protests come 2 days after Nadal Lapid, during the International Film Festival of India, called Kashmir Files a propaganda and a vulgar movie, which should not have been screened at this event. Filmmaker Vivek Agnihotri condemned his remark. has announced a follow-up to the much acclaimed yet controversial film this year, which is titled The Kashmir Files Unreported.
अब तो मैंने दृढ़ निश्चय कर लिया है। हमारे पास इतना रिसर्च था, इतने वाकये, इतने किस्से हैं, इतनी सारे सत्य हैं जिसपे एक नहीं 10 फिल्में बन सकती थी, पर हमने एक फिल्म बनाने का निश्चय किया था। लेकिन आज जब इनने ये बात करी है तो अब तो मैंने निश्चय कर लिया है कि मैं पूरा का पूरा सत्य, पूरा रिसर्च लेके आऊंगा और उसका नाम होगा द कश्मीर फाइल्स अनरिपोर्टेड, और ये मैं इसी साल के अंदर अंदर लेके आऊंगा। ये मैंने आज दृढ़ निश्चय कर लिया है।
इसी के फेस्टिवल में इस व्हाइट कॉलर टेररिस्ट ने एक बम फोड़ा है जो चेयरमैन था जूरी का। आई कंसिडर दिस एज अ टेरर अटैक। सो आई वेरी स्ट्रांगली फील कि ये जो चेयरमैन ऑफ द जूरी था, इसको प्लांट किया गया था वहां पे, और उसने कश्मीरी पंडित्स को बदनाम किया। उसने देश के खिलाफ एक मुहिम चलाई है और वो अपना काम करके चला गया।
मुझे ये लग रहा है यह एक बड़ी एक साजिश है, क्योंकि इस वक्त हिंदुस्तान का कद वर्ल्ड में बढ़ रहा है, साथ साथ ही नरेंद्र मोदी जी का भी जो कद बढ़ रहा है उसको कहीं जख्म पहुंचाने की कोशिश हो रही है। जिस भी कंट्री का वो जूरी था उस जूरी को पहले अपनी कंट्री में देखना चाहिए, वहां की ह्यूमन राइट्स वायलेशन वो किस तरह करते हैं। उसका हक नहीं बनता कि कश्मीरी कम्युनिटी कौम पर कोई उंगली उठाए, और ये एक शर्मनाक बात है और हम इसकी पूरी निंदा करते हैं।
फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल मुझे उससे ज्यादा उम्मीदें हैं नहीं, बिकॉज वो एक लेफ्टिस्ट आइडियोलॉजी का इजराइल का बंदा है। मगर दुख मुझे उन लोगों से है कि जो हमारे इंडिया में इस चीज को डिनाई करते हैं, उन्हें स्टेज देते हैं। सबसे पहले तो कंडेमनेशन उनका आना चाहिए, बिकॉज कश्मीर फाइल्स इज नॉट अ प्रोपेगेंडा। ये तो हमारे देश के प्रधानमंत्री ने प्रमोट की है, और हमारे देश के यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री जिस चीज को प्रमोट करेंगे डेफिनेटली उसके पीछे कुछ तो सच्चाई होगी।
There's no end for the controversy for the film Kashmir Files. This time the criticism has come from the head of the jury of the International Film Festival of India, also called as IFFA. Filmmaker Nadal Lapid has accused the film of being vulgar and propagandist. Filmmaker Nadal, the director of the movie, has called Nadal Lapid a genocide denier. Here is a report.
कश्मीर के मसले का एक ही हल,
A surprise box office hit during the pandemic. A movie that drew appreciation from the Prime Minister.
जिनको लगता है कि ये फिल्म ठीक नहीं होगा, अपनी दूसरी फिल्म बनाए, कौन मना करता है? लेकिन उनको हैरानी हो रही है कि जिस सत्य को इतने सालों तक दबा करके रखा, उसको तथ्यों के आधार पर जब बाहर लाया जा रहा है और कोई मेहनत करके ला रहा है, तो उसको पूरी इकोसिस्टम लग गई है, पूरी इकोसिस्टम लग गई।
Presented as fiction, themed on the suffering of minority Hindus at the hands of Islamist terrorists in the Kashmir Valley in the 1990s. The Kashmir Files has received middling reviews since its release in March. Vivek Agnihotri's movie courted controversy in the first week of its screening.
Please don't watch Bollywood movies. I'm kindly requesting you all people, please don't watch Bollywood movies, especially Shah Rukh, Salman, Aamir, Saif.
Critics found the Kashmir Files fueling communal hatred as it elicited reactions ranging from boycott of Bollywood films with Muslim actors to downright Islamophobic rants.
रेप चार्जेस लगाए जाएंगे तो ये सताए हुए लोग गन से उठाएंगे सर।
कश्मीरी पंडितों ने तो कभी कोई बंदूक नहीं उठाई। क्यों?
Several petitions were also unsuccessfully filed against the Kashmir Files, alleging that the movie promoted an anti-Muslim sentiment. Kashmiri politicians condemned the movie. Some even called for its ban, alleging it vilifies Muslims.
एक बुनियाद फिल्म जिसने न सिर्फ नफरत मुल्क में पैदा की है, बल्कि यहाँ हमारे जवानों में भी नफरत हुई है कि हमारे तरफ कैसे सोच रहे हैं। ऐसी चीजों को बंद करना चाहिए, इस मीडिया को बंद करना चाहिए जो मीडिया इस वक्त नफरतें फैला रहा है सारे हिंदुस्तान में। अगर आपने हिंदुस्तान को बचाना है तभी कश्मीर बचेगा।
घात में सयाद, पहलू में है खटकता तीर का, एक पहलू ये भी है कश्मीर की तस्वीर का।
The film triggered demands for a comprehensive investigation to determine the exact scale of loss of life during the peak of terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir.
आरटीआई के एप्लीकेशन में यह कहा गया जवाब में कि 30 साल में 1724 मिलिटेंट्स को हुकूमत और फौज ने, पुलिस ने उनको मारा, मिलिटेंट्स को, या उनकी मौत हुई, जिसमें से सिर्फ 89 कश्मीरी पंडित का कत्ल हुआ। मैं सरकार से मुतालबा करता हूं कि एक आजादना कमीशन को फौरन बनाया जाए ताकि सच्चाई और हकीकत सामने आ जाए। और हैरत अफसोस इस बात का है कि 1500 नॉन पंडित हिंदुओं का भी कत्ल हुआ मिलिटेंट्स की तरफ से, मगर उनके बारे में कोई आंसू नहीं बहाया जाता, उनके बारे में कोई पिक्चर नहीं बनती अपनी जेब गरम करने के लिए।
The Kashmir Files received tax breaks in BJP-ruled states, but not everyone followed suit. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal refused the tax waiver. He mocked the BJP for its overwhelming endorsement of the movie.
पूरी सारी भारतीय जनता पार्टी देश में एक पिक्चर के पोस्टर लगा रही है, इसलिए राजनीति करने आए थे। पिक्चरों के पोस्टर, अपने बच्चों को क्या जवाब दोगे? घर जाके बच्चे पूछेंगे पापा क्या काम करते हो? पिक्चरों के पोस्टर लगाता हूँ। कह रहे हैं कश्मीर फाइल्स टैक्स फ्री करो। अरे यूट्यूब पे डाल दो, फ्री हो जाएगी। टैक्स फ्री क्यों करा रहे हो?
हमारे लोग मर रहे हैं सर।
कश्मीर चल रहा है, खुलेआम कश्मीरी हिंदुओं का कत्ले आम हो रहा है।
A film in debate not because of the history of Jammu and Kashmir in the 1990s, but because of the way the story was told. Bureau Report, India Today.
Kashmir has never been an integral part of India, and this is a historical fact. Kashmir!
Breaking news coming in. Mehbooba Mufti has backed the Israeli filmmaker. She says, and I quote, "Finally someone called out a movie that was nothing but sheer propaganda promoted by the ruling party to demonize Muslims, especially Kashmiris, and widen the gulf between Pandits and Muslims. Sad that diplomatic channels are now being used to silence the truth." Unquote. Mehbooba Mufti going out there and backing Nadav's statement. Sunil Ji Bhatt now joins us. Sunil Ji, this remark that is coming in from Mehbooba Mufti, number one, her own political party at one point used to be in an alliance with the Bharatiya Janata Party. Secondly, leaving politics aside, what is her problem with showing what the reality was of the Kashmiri Pandit exodus that took place? Why is she in so much denial?
Well, Cheti, the plight of Kashmiri Pandits, it has been widely debated in the recent past, and awareness has been generated on this issue because many people were totally unaware of the problems which were faced by Kashmiri Pandits in 1990 and the ethnic cleansing they had to face. This movie, Kashmir Files, brought out the truth. It was based on real life incidents, and it was not based on some fiction or some imaginary, thinking. But unfortunately, some politicians are, playing politics over this issue. Truth has come out. Truth may be uncomfortable for some people and some political leaders, but truth has to come out, and everyone must know that what has happened with Kashmiri Pandits, so that things like these don't happen in future. Unfortunately,
Mufti's stance overall, Sunilji, been as far as this exodus is concerned. Sure, you may like a film, you may hate a film, you may want to watch it, not want to watch it. It is your prerogative. But as far as this entire exodus is concerned, the reality of what happened to Kashmiri Pandits on the valley, has she commented on that in the past, and what's her stance on that?
Well, Cheti, in the past also, Mehbooba Mufti has spoken on this issue, and she has admitted that Kashmiri Pandits were targeted by the terrorists. But, she sometimes tries to play it down. But, this movie, The Kashmir Files, has, portrayed the plight of Kashmiri Pandits like never before, and it has brought out some of the chilling details of the atrocities that were committed on the Kashmiri Pandits. And of course, it's going to be very uncomfortable for many people and many political leaders. But, Cheti, we need to also, emphasize on this fact that it's a self-goal that has been committed by the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, because everyone knows the credentials of this filmmaker, his background, everyone is aware of it. Why was he invited? And it has brought embarrassment to the nation, as well as it has also, somehow created some sort of, sourness as far as our friendly relations with the state of Israel are concerned. The Israeli ambassador had to clarify. He had to call out this filmmaker. So the heads need to roll that why such a controversial figure was invited to this prestigious film festival in Goa, and he had no right to comment on an issue which he was not privy to, or he was not fully understanding.
That's the thing, right? Like you are an Israeli filmmaker, and you're probably out of depths when it comes to commenting on the history of what has happened in India, unless and until you have really studied it very, very well. And that's where the main issue here is also. We're slipping into a short commercial break at this point of time. When we return, Paulami Saha joins you with State of War Gujarat from Ground Zero, getting you all the updates.
You are watching India Today.
News is about putting people first.
Just look at the queues right across.
About asking the right questions to those in power. Is money power being used to bring down elected governments? Who will be held accountable for ministerial corruption?
It takes no sides. माँ का दर्द एक दर्द कोई नहीं समझ सकता उस दर्द को.
It reveals. It heals.
Angry people came out on the streets.
Is this the kind of justice system we want in this country?
News is all heart and no hatred.
बिल्किस बानो आज क्या कहना चाहेंगी आप?
हमारे साथ जो हुआ है किसी के साथ भी नहीं होना चाहिए.
Experience the news. With me, Rajdeep Sardesai, only on India Today.